a warm welcome to another edition of To The Point. As the heat continues to mount day by day over the Triple Talaq Bill, we bring you face to face with a man who in the current narrative is considered to be the chief architect of the Triple Talaq Bill. He was the one who resigned from the Rajiv Gandhi cabinet over his differences over the Muslim Women Act 1986, which was brought in to overrule the Shah Banu case. I welcome Arif Mohammad Khan on To The Point. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
3 decades later almost, do you still feel that triple talaq remains in the current narrative as a subject of social reform, or it still continues to be a political weapon in the hands of the political parties?
You know, genuinely speaking, this is not even a question of reform of the law. This is a question of not even women rights. It's a question of human rights. The evil practice of triple talaq, this has never been part of the law. Those who are saying that we are trying to criminalize a provision of the family law, which is essentially of civil nature, they are not right. Because this particular practice has right from its beginning, this is a pre-Islamic practice. This was considered criminal. This crept later on, it crept into the body of Islamic law. So this was never, that's why it is described as bidat. Even Personal Law Board has admitted in their affidavit that this is a bidat. Once it is a bidat, it is not part of the original law. This is a criminal practice, evil practice, which has crept into the Islamic law. So I consider this a question of human rights, where the manner in which triple talaq is practiced, it robs women of their dignity.
But what is the reason?
Equity. Yeah.
Right. But if you look at the narrative, how it's building up over triple talaq, it except for BJP, of course, which is talking about gender justice, it is talking about the dignity of women. You see the conduct of the opposition parties, the way they have bandied together, and they have one stance in Lok Sabha, they have another stance in Rajya Sabha. So this ambivalent attitude which you see of the opposition, what do you really have to say?
I do not see any ambivalent attitude, particularly when I read this document which is in my hand. Mm-hmm. This is a press release which has been issued by All India Personal Law Board.
Okay.
And it clearly says, from the text of this press release, it is clear that they work after the passage of the bill in the Lok Sabha, when it was on 27th, 28th, whatever is the date, they worked overtime. They have mentioned all these parties by name, whom they contacted. Not that they have mentioned it. They have mentioned, in fact, the names of the leaders. Unki meeting, they had their meeting on 2nd January, they had their meeting in the office of the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha.
So are you, Mr. Khan,
just
allow me to raise a question to you. Are you hinting at the fact that bodies like Muslim Personal Law Board, they are rallying support with the opposition so that the bill doesn't sail through in the Rajya Sabha? Are you hinting at that kind of a scenario?
No, they are taking full credit of it, that after the meeting they were assured by these parties and leaders that they will not allow the bill to be passed in Rajya Sabha. They are not even saying that these leaders assured that they will sympathetically consider the viewpoint of the Personal Law Board. It is, as far as this text is concerned of the press release which has been issued by All India Personal Law Board, it is clear as if Personal Law Board is dictating to these parties what line they have to take.
What is the reason for this? Why is
the reason?
Why?
What was the reason why they had? Why I was hoping that after 1986 and after having, remember a few years back when many of the Congress leaders, I don't want to name them, who have said in their public meetings, in their some articles, Somewhere they said that 1986 was very bad, and that reversal of the judgment in Shahbano's case cost us dearly. And Mr. Digvijay Singh went to the extent of saying in an article, which, if I remember correctly, had appeared on the website of NDTV, he had said that Mr. Rajiv Gandhi himself had told him at some stage that what happened in 86 was a mistake. I was hoping that our friends will learn from their past experience, and now they will not allow political convenience to come in the way of gender justice. But here this press release says that the meeting they are talking about, the leader of opposition, Mr. Ghulam Nabi, Mr. Kapil Sibal, those who were present in that meeting,
Yes.
Mr. Kapil Sibal, Mr. Ahmad Patel, Mr. K. Rahman Khan, Mr. Anand Sharma, and Muslim League leader Abdul Wahab. They were all present in that meeting. And all the leaders, तमाम लीडरों ने वफद के अरकान को यकीन दिलाया कि इस हालत में बिल को इस हालत में राज्यसभा में पास नहीं होने दिया जाएगा. The leaders, these leaders who were present there in the meeting on 2nd of January, they assured the leaders of the Personal Law Board that bill shall not be allowed to be passed in Rajya Sabha.
But Mr. Khan, my question to you now is, of course, you read out the press release of Muslim Personal Law Board and how they are rallying support with the opposition parties. But apart from this narrative, which of course you have shared with us, my question to you at the point is that what do you really have to say about the conduct of the opposition parties? Because are they really worried about the slipping vote bank? Because obviously they have been rallying around the minority vote bank. They've been talking about the Muslim vote bank and how they rallied support amongst them. And now are they afraid that BJP is trying to appropriate? Because of course the Muslim women are looking up to parties like BJP when they have championed the cause of the Muslim women through this bill. So are they really afraid that somewhere down the line it's a slippery ground for the opposition parties?
All that you are talking about may be important to them. That may be a factor with them. But this is not what Personal Law Board is saying. Personal Law Board, in a sense, is claiming that they have assured us they will not allow the bill to be passed. And what they have said in the press release actually happened in the Rajya Sabha. To me, in a democracy, even an individual can influence the opinion of a party or leaders. But for any group to claim that, and this meeting is held after the bill is passed in Lok Sabha, you must make that distinction. So to be under the influence and to use, you are member of the House and you are exercising your powers and your duties in a manner to suit the whims and desires of one particular interest group in itself is such big slur for any member of parliament. And had this happened in some other democracy, the House would have taken note of it, that you, instead of, suppose you had said that yes, we will consider your viewpoint sympathetically, that is one thing. But you have instructed us, and now we will go to the House and we will ensure that this is obstructed. How it should be viewed, to me, this is simply, this raises many questions, including the dignity of the House.
But Mr. Khan, if you talk about the provisions of the bill, one of the biggest criticisms which is coming out on the Triple Talaq bill is that criminalizing the Triple Talaq could be misused as a ploy to jail more men. How credible is is this statement which is being taken up by the opposition?
First of all, either these people do not know or they are pretending ignorance that this particular provision has always if you have a casual look at the history of the Muslim jurisprudence, right from day one, this act has been treated as a criminal act. And Caliph Umar, in whose time this act was for the first time, I told you, pre-Islamic days, this was the common practice.
Right.
But after Islam, the first man who gave legal sanctity to this was Caliph Umar. But he used to avoid. He allowed it, but he treated it as a criminal act and awarded 40 lashes to a person who made 3 pronouncements in one sitting. Awarding 40 lashes, is it a civil punishment? I'm asking you. 40 lashes in a time when jails were not there. There were no jails. The only punishment which could be given to any offender was only corporal punishment.
Right.
So is that a civil punishment?
So, which means, according to what you're saying, then BJP is completely
No, I'm
justified when it talks about a 3-year jail term for the men who have pronounced instant triple talaq, right?
Absolutely justified, because what will happen, 3 years may sound bit on the higher side, but what will happen, because this provision...
But the quantum can always be negotiated or it can be discussed.
It can always be. It can always. That is not a problem. But I think more deterrent this provision is, more successfully it will stop the incidents of triple talaq. And I'll give you one example. In my constituency, former constituency, a man who was, this was a just 3-year-old marriage. The boy divorces the girl through these 3 pronouncements. All efforts are made to persuade him and tell him that talaq has not happened, neither according to the law of the land nor according to the law of Quran. But he refuses to listen to anybody. Police, very influential people of the area who talked to him, I told them to talk to him. For 20 days he refused to budge, more than 20 days he refused to budge. But the day this measure was passed in Lok Sabha, rather was introduced in Lok Sabha, he called the girl and told her now not to talk about it, and he is coming to take her back home. The girl is not interested in his going to jail. He does not want to go to jail. He has changed his stand. Girl is happy about it. He is not insisting, no, he had made 3 pronouncements, so now he must go to jail. She is interested in saving the family. And he has realized that if he does not do the same, he will have to go to jail for 3 years. They are saying who will pay the maintenance. Give me one example. More than 100 divorces have happened after Supreme Court judgment. In how many cases give me one case.
So according to what you're saying, it's important to bring a deterrence in law, because you have other examples like bigamy laws are there, anti-dowry laws are there.
Not deterrence in law. A criminal act, if you want to stop a criminal act, as far as the other part of the law is concerned,
There has to be a penal provision.
only for the part which has been recognized as criminal right from day one. A criminal act can be prevented, can be stopped only by introducing deterrence.
So
this is not a civil law. I had married you before everybody, before the families, and now in privacy I am saying triple divorce thrice, asking you to get out of the marital home. This is not provided in
But
the
the
law.
way opposition has been whipping up the frenzy, saying that this bill should now go to a select committee, and given the fact, and you have also you have also said that triple talaq is anti-Quran, it's anti-constitution, it's anti-human. So, given all these scenarios, do you think that the government should buy some more time in converting this bill into a proper law? Why should it waste time in sending the bill to a select committee?
Those who brought a law to reverse the judgment of the Supreme Court in 1986, did not agree to refer the measure to the select committee, now are asking the government, which has brought a bill to enforce the decision of the Supreme Court, to refer it to the select committee. Why? Because I have spent many years in parliament, in government. I know select committee is mostly used to kill and delay these measures. If you are really interested in the reform, if you have any objection, why don't you bring, why did you not come forward with your amendments? Even today you have not said what amendment you want to, how you want to amend the bill as it has been introduced.
Opposition is also talking about the bill has a provision for a subsistence allowance, and the opposition has been saying that BJP is trying to become a messiah of the Muslim women, but they do not have any welfare provisions. So how can the government really counter the opposition on this? They're talking about a subsistence allowance which should be paid to the women.
I find it totally, I'm really surprised.
I mean, leaders like Ghulam Nabi Azad, Veerappa Moily, they have been talking about the fact, and also Sushmita Dev, who said that there should be a corpus which the government, should try and bring up. So how credible are these statements?
Actually,
and how convincing?
Actually, we must understand this bill is for a limited purpose. And the limited purpose is to enforce the judgment of the Supreme Court. It is the constitutional and moral responsibility of the government to enforce and implement all the laws, whether they originate in parliament, legislature, or are laid down by the courts, higher courts. What has happened in this case? In this case, as far as triple talaq from the Quranic angle is concerned, that stood banned right in 2002 by Shamim Ara case. The judgment in Shamim Ara case was clear. Shamim Ara case judgment said that this practice of triple talaq is repugnant to the provisions of Quran. The right law which has been laid down by Quran is this. And since this is repugnant to that, it is void. What 2017 has done? It has agreed with Shamim Ara, but additionally has said that this is also violative of Article 14 of the Constitution. It offends the right which is guaranteed by the Constitution, basic fundamental right.
But Mr. Khan, many academicians are also saying, I mean, there's one criticism which is coming over, and they're saying that, there's a kind of a gender divide which has evolved in the Muslim community since the time this debate over the triple talaq bill has been generated. Like Muslim women are on one side and Muslim men are on one side. So do you see some kind of a gender divide as well?
In 1986, even women were not on their side in 1986. There was nobody who was ready to stick his neck out. My point is different. My point is that in 1986, the law which was made, what was the whole matter on which the agitation started? What was that? Section 125 of CRPC, in the case of indigent women, extend the it makes a lifelong responsibility. If after divorce, your wife is indigent, she does not have means to keep her body and soul together, then certain amount
a maintenance allowance,
certain amount which is known as maintenance allowance, she can go to the court and court can ask you to pay to her. What was the stand of the Personal Law Board? The stand of the Personal Law Board was, despite the fact that there is a verse in the Quran, وَلِلْ مُطَلَّقَاتِ مَتَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ حَقًّا عَلَى الْمُتَّقِينَ, and for the divorced women is also a fair and reasonable provision. This is a duty on the righteous people.
But if I remember very clearly, Mr. Khan, it's the same Muslim Personal Law Board who gave a written and an oral submission in the Supreme Court in August 2017 saying that, no, they will try and undo their sins. It's an innovation. And it's the same Muslim person.
Then you are not, again, we will jump to another issue. But please stay here for a minute.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Their whole emphasis was that a Muslim husband has no liability towards his wife beyond the iddat period, even if she is totally without means, even if she is sitting on the road and begging. Muslim husband cannot be asked to pay anything. The judgment in Shabano case was not given under any personal law provision. It was given under CRPC law. And why they opposed it? Because it extends the liability of the Muslim husband beyond iddat period. Now, if any time there was if there was a right time to make all these laws, to create this corpus, was in 1986. Why did they not do it? But fortunately, the law which they made, so the stated objective of the law in 1986 was clearly to set aside the judgment in Shabano. Therefore, impression will go that now this relief is not available to Muslim women till Dania al-Latifi case, where the constitutionality of this 1986 law was decided, and the court took a very liberal view, very positive, very pro-women view. Till that time, for next 3-4 years after 86, Muslim women's petitions in the lower courts, where they had gone for this 200 and 300 rupees under section 125, even they were turned down.
So from what I understand from what you're saying is that if the penal provisions or the CRPC provisions are applicable to laws like bigamy laws or the anti-dowry laws, triple talaq cannot be functional in isolation.
Triple talaq,
it cannot be an exception.
No. For triple talaq, there is only, in fact, second argument is not needed. In Islamic jurisprudence, the triple talaq right from day one has been treated as a criminal act. Let them challenge it.
Okay.
Let them challenge that Caliph Umar did not award punishment of 40 lashes to the person who pronounced 3 divorces. After that, what more argument is needed? This has always been a criminal act. But today you are asking, and this law is for a very, very limited purpose. The purpose is that after the judgment of the Supreme Court, in fact, triple talaq was banned in 2002. We do not know the exact number of cases of triple talaq which have happened since 2002. But we know for definite that after last 4 months, more than 100 cases have happened.
But the opposition parties, are they able to understand that the purpose of this bill is for a limited purpose?
You should ask them, because I don't think that if, I feel that if I have to do something because I am being dictated by someone else to do it, then I do not apply my reason. I do not try to understand. I have a commitment to personal law board, and I have to prove my loyalty, because 86, I had brought a law to change the judgment of the Supreme Court. Now, a Supreme Court has again given a judgment which is not to the liking of personal law board, and personal law board, what is their statement after the judgment? Many, although first day they had publicly welcomed it, but only few days later, when they held their meeting in Bhopal, they changed their stance, and then they started saying, let there be any judgment as far as this practice is concerned. This is legally sanctioned Islam, and this will continue.
So, if you look at the political divide at the moment, Mr. Khan, BJP does look like a progressive party when it talks about issues like gender justice, and as Ravi Shankar Prasad says, that the bill is about insaniyat, it is not about siyasat, it is not about politics. So, obviously, the Muslim women will go behind BJP, and it's the ripe chance for BJP.
I don't think only Muslim women.
No, because triple talaq talks about the Muslim
women. Muslim women are very, credit in fact goes to them, because the circumstances under which they have, the way they have suffered and the way they have fought, lot of credit goes to them. But the number of Muslim men who are supporting today, they were not supporting in 1986, but the number of Muslim men who are supporting these women, who are supporting these humanitarian causes,
that has risen in number.
That number is very high now. And how we have a proverb which says कि जो चीज़ हाथ में है उसके लिए किसी सबूत की ज़रूरत है क्या? उसका दूसरा हिस्सा मुझे याद है, पहला याद नहीं आ रहा, पढ़े लिखे को फारसी क्या. Now if I'm seeing, although the day this bill was passed in Lok Sabha, even a person like me had got,
You saw a ray of hope.
a ray of hope. And I felt very confident. And the first interview I gave, somebody asked me, now Congress has also not opposed. I said, we must welcome it. I won't like to say that in 86 they had done this. I'm very happy if they, because every
But
one of
after what has happened in Rajya Sabha, you will clearly say that opposition parties, including all the 18 parties, the way they have bandied together and they're talking about the insecurity of the Muslim men. Do you really think that still political expediency is that one prime factor which is on the minds of these opposition parties?
political expediency is the only thing which is on their mind.
Okay.
And in addition to that, the manner in which, here you are talking of all the opposition parties, I do not think other parties would have been encouraged to go to this extent if Congress had not taken this stand.
Okay.
So to me, mostly Congress is responsible for creating this, what you are calling stalemate.
Okay.
Yeah, Congress is responsible. And I'm not trying to use flowery language, but I honestly tell you that as far as this bill is concerned, this is not a fight between BJP and
Or the
Congress.
Congress.
This is fight between Muslim women who are struggling to secure their human rights, and the Muslim Personal Law Board, which wants to keep them oppressed and suppressed and enslaved.
But there is unanimity as far as the BJP is concerned. They are very strong on their intent that they are talking about the gender justice. That is one bit which is driving them
Gender
to
justice
bring.
means human rights.
Human
Yes.
rights, of course. So you
Yeah.
are very hopeful that this bill will be seriously brought in during the budget session of the parliament?
That is the reason why I feel so confident that it will again come in budget session, because I see the party showing great commitment, and more than that, the Prime Minister is totally committed to it.
Okay.
More than the instance I have referred to earlier in my constituency. After trying for more than 20-25 days.
So all the opposition parties which have been painting BJP as saying that they are anti-minority, they are anti-Muslims, obviously they will not have anything left in their hand once the bill sails through. They will really have no political rhetoric to whip up.
Actions speak louder than words. Now everybody knows that who is sacrificing the question of gender justice on the altar of political convenience, and who is pursuing it. Everybody knows it now.
I'm really running short of time. It was a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Khan.
Thank you very much.
So that's it on this episode of To The Point. See you next time with another personality. Goodbye and thanks for watching.